Good morning, Ukiah, and welcome to the Jason Show. It's that time again, 10 o'clock on Saturday mornings. Every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock here on Channel 3, we do a show with somebody that I meet wandering around town, hanging out in Walmart or the parks or what have you, and I bring this person on, and we talk about it all for an hour. So welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. And my guest this morning, we've been talking all morning. This man's name is Frank Starkey. This guy's name is Frank Starkey. And I'm your host, Jason Killey. And he's got a story, just like everybody does. And we're going to get into it. Amazing stuff going on in the world, all around us, all the time. So, Frank, thank you very much for coming in and talking. So, we've been talking here and getting the idea here, and we're gonna cover it all. But basically, I'm gonna start off by saying that you were on a lot of prescription drugs as a teenager. And you were bipolar. You were diagnosed many times by doctors as being bipolar, and yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. Cool. And the day you turned 18, you walked out. They said, "Here's your pills." You dropped them in the dumpster, and went cold turkey, and never looked back.
Yep.
And to deal with what you are talking about. Bipolar disorder and severe depression, you now medicate with marijuana, and if you go a couple days without it, you get agitated, and you get irritable, and everything starts to bother you, and life is uncomfortable, and that's how you manage what used to be managed by 30 pills a day. Yeah. So we'll start off there. That's an amazing fact. That's really interesting. This is a medical marijuana county. You know, and a lot of people are like, medical marijuana, it's all recreational. Well, probably a lot of it is, but from what you're telling me, it's not necessarily for you. Yeah. So that's interesting. So starting off there, so you described to me that you were a foster kid. A group home kid growing up. And I've never had anybody on the show that I've never heard this story yet. So why don't you describe to me, tell me a little bit about your about that phase of your life.
Well, first things off, the group home thing ain't really as bad as a lot of people think of it. I mean, it's just like being at home just with 30 other kids and 20 adults telling you what to do. I mean, it's more structured than it is at home for kids. There's more structure, more things to do. But then it has its downfalls. You have kids like to run their mouths at other people and try to get you up and going on that, and it ain't fun. Group home wasn't that bad for the most part.
Group home for you was age 5 to 18.
5 to 18, yep.
Yeah. And so a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, not a horrific deal.
No.
Okay. Now, how many foster families did you bounce in and out of during your
I went
from
through
age 5
for
to
a month. I only went through foster homes for about a month, and I probably went through about 30 some odd foster homes in a month.
You spent the night at a different home every day for a month?
Yes.
Never heard of such a program.
Well,
how it works in Oklahoma?
Well, no, this was in Ohio. I've never been to another foster home out of any other state but Ohio. I just didn't feel right at the foster family. Like, I didn't feel comfortable. I told the caseworker that I had at the time, I was like, I don't feel comfortable here. I mean, at the time, me and my sister were together before we got took apart from my mom. So at that point in time, it was just me and by myself, and it didn't feel right. So I told my caseworker, and then they finally put me in a group home.
Okay.
After 30 days.
Right. So why, over the course of like age 5 to 18, did dip into that whole foster trip once.
Because
That's kinda weird.
they classified me as unstable for a foster home.
Okay. Okay. And that was because of the bipolar and
Because
depression?
of the medications. I was, most of it was me putting on a show. I just didn't like the people that I was there with.
Uh-huh.
And I would act up,
Uh-huh.
and they would move me, or I would call my caseworker and be like, I don't like how these people are treating me, and they'd move me.
So you'd act up
Purposely.
during the foster stuff. I see. You were just
And
kind
then
of
even in a group home, I would act up, and then they would think that, oh, well, it's just he needs to be on different medication. No.
putting on a show, just be spazzing out, just what,
Well,
yelling
no,
or
I
fighting?
wouldn't spaz out or anything. It was just the fact that a kid, if you think about it, a child that got took away from his mother, how would you act? You would act up. You wouldn't act like a normal child would. You would be depressed. You'd be upset. I mean, what else would happen in your life?
Yeah,
Okay, you're 5 years old. You just got took away from the only thing you ever knew.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
the first thing in your head's gonna be, "You're not my mom. You're not my dad. I ain't gotta listen to you."
Uh-huh. Yeah. Kind of
And
an
that's the
automatic.
mentality that I was at the whole time through the whole group home system, until about the last 2 or 3 years of the group home system, and then I got moved. Well, that was when we moved to Oklahoma and stuff. But I got put in a group home in Enid, Oklahoma. And the last 3 years I was in a group home, I was in a ROTC program, which was like a boot camp on the Air Force base there in town. And I was stationed on the base. I was actually going to go into the Air Force and all that when I graduated, but I decided I was going to go back to Ohio.
Uh-huh. ROTC.
Yeah.
So you liked that. That worked for you, but what happened? Why didn't you...
I just didn't. Me wanting to go back to Ohio and everything messed me up pretty much on that.
Uh-huh. And you wanted to go back to Ohio to visit your mom?
Visit family.
Visit
my
family.
other family. My
Okay,
mom was
your
in
mom
Oklahoma.
was in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and your family that you actually had a connection with was
Is
in Ohio.
Yes.
Okay, and that's a sister and what you call it.
My whole family's in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
All my family lives in Ohio.
Right, right.
Just my mom and my aunt and my cousins live in Oklahoma.
So before we get too far, why did you originally get taken away from your mother?
My mom was accused of murdering my sister. Vehicular homicide.
Uh-huh. Did she, do you think?
I have a feeling that it was purposely done, yes.
Really? Wow. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your mom is not a stable person.
No.
Okay. So, let's see, where are we? Were there any good years in the group home? Like, do you remember, like, age 10 was actually a good year and you had some friends or...
I had, 16 was good, 15 was good, 14 was good. And that was all from football. I was always in football. I played football my whole high school year.
Okay, so you were high school football and you were loving it.
Loving it.
Despite the fact that you're on all these crazy drugs.
I was loving it.
Yeah, yeah.
I would go on tours with the football. I'd go play other teams. You know, football was great. And then I also did track and with the boxing, kickboxing, and all that other stuff I was doing.
Uh-huh.
The Air Force Base, I was doing that thing. That was all that really was the ROTC program. It was actually really cool because we were on base all night long, and we were pretty much like MPs. We got to carry around an M16. We got to carry around a pistol. We had all the necessity things we needed. If something happened that we were needing to be there, we were there. We were pretty much security just like everybody else was.
Sure.
But we were getting training different ways than they were. We weren't allowed to do all the things they were allowed to do, but we were allowed to do most of them.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You ever think about
Joining?
Joining?
Yeah, I can't do it.
can't do it?
Nope.
Just
They won't take me.
They won't take you
Yep.
because...
My arm.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk about fighting. You started with like karate when you were 6?
Kickboxing.
Kickboxing when you were 6. Okay. And you basically, the group home helped provide this. It was part of the system that it was available.
Yep.
Was it popular? Was all the kids in the whole group home into it, or just a
No,
couple?
actually, you had to be on good behavior. With the good behavior, it was like in school when you were in first grade. You remember how they had the stars thing?
Stars?
Yeah, the stars for
Sure.
good behavior.
Yeah.
It was pretty much like that. You had to do your good behavior to get your special events.
Uh-huh.
Like if you wanted to go to real school instead of the group home school, you had to be on good behavior.
Right.
Okay, for me playing football, I had to go to real school, so I had to be on good behavior all the time.
Right.
So to do that, I was constantly on good behavior. If I was in school, then that means I was doing my kickboxing, I was doing all my extracurriculars.
So you acted out in one sense, in one direction, but you also knew how to play the game.
Yeah.
And get some stars up there. I never was that good at this star.
It's all about playing the system, making them happy.
I don't know. I wasn't the worst at it or anything. I wasn't like a real rascal, but I could never really get a bunch of those things. I don't know. They escaped me. So you did kickboxing and Tai Chi Chuan.
Tai Chi Chuan.
Taekwondo. Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
The whole.
Breathing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you did all that, and you were into it, and you just did that for the whole time, and then when you turned 18, you just moved forward with that.
Well, honestly, all it was really is Chuck Liddell. Okay, Chuck Liddell was like an idol. As I was watching him grow up and everything, it was really cool, to just see somebody like that.
Uh-huh.
And then when I got out of the group home and everything, I'd watch more and more of it. And then I got back to Ohio, and I had a friend of mine say, "Hey, look, we can make good money." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Dude, we can make some serious money by fighting." I was like, "I'm down. Money's great, I'm out here on the streets right now. That's great to hear good money."
Yeah.
He was like, "Well, you win a fight, you get $5,000. Lose a fight, you walk out with $1,000."
With $1,000.
$1,000.
Jeez.
I get knocked out for $1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
I can go live in a hotel for a week or two with that.
Yeah.
And started fighting, and he liked what he seen. And I was 27-1. I had one loss, 27 wins.
All that money? What'd you do with it?
A lot, actually. Honestly, I bought a house. I got a car. I got a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I put a lot of money up for my daughter.
Uh-huh.
That was not even born at the time. I knew that I was going to have a child, and I put it up for my daughter.
Uh-huh.
My ex had a brand new car, and that was pretty much it. And now she has all that.
Right. Do you talk to her?
No.
Do you talk to your daughter?
I don't get to talk to her.
Don't get to?
Nope. The state of Oklahoma took my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my ex was supposedly accomplice to murder.
Okay.
To her daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. So they took my daughter from me.
And gave him to her?
No. The state of Oklahoma has my daughter, which is where I grew up at.
Your daughter is group kid right now?
Yep. No, foster home right now.
Okay.
Therapeutic foster home.
How old is she?
She will be a year on the 17th.
Amazing. Okay.
But, yeah, my ex took a house, a car, a little over $250,000 out of my daughter's trust fund. Yeah.
Whoa. That's a big situation.
But I can't do nothing about it because in the state of Oklahoma, after being with a person for 4 years or more, you're considered married.
Uh-huh.
So that was legally all her stuff.
Right. And where's she doing? What's she doing? Living high on the hog still? Or?
Probably. Oh, well, I know she's got a nice house, 3 nice cars, a bike, and I don't know how much money she has left.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm trying to get my head around that. That's a big deal.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That I lost. And sitting where I'm at now.
Yeah. Okay. So you went 27-1.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the one?
The one was, they considered it as a knockout. Dude broke my arm.
Uh-huh.
And I guess it knocked me out. I don't remember much after my arm getting broke, but standing up and face planting the mat.
Oh, okay. So, how did he break your arm?
An arm bar.
What's an arm bar?
It's where they have your arm up through their leg, locked in, and twisting your arm up to put pressure on your arm.
Uh-huh. And you didn't tap out fast
Didn't
enough?
tap out at all. He kept telling me to tap out. My coach even kept telling me to tap out, and I couldn't do it. I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be, that one loss because I had to tap out.
Right. Right.
I'd rather be a loss for a reason than a loss for no reason.
Right.
That's how I was looking at it.
Yeah, you're crazy, man. So
Been told that.
Yeah, yeah. You ever been told that once or twice?
A couple times.
So you have a broken arm now, and your ulna and radius are fused into one strong bone, and you don't have your mobility perfectly. And yeah, okay. And it doesn't bother you too much, maybe a little this and that, but
nope.
Okay. So was that your last fight or anything?
That was my last fight.
Okay. And because you
the last registered fight.
Last registered fight. Okay, tell me a little bit about this system, the MMA.
Yeah.
Okay, so your buddy.
It's what it is. It's an underground type of thing. I mean, MMA, UFC, underground fighting. It's all the same thing. It's just UFC. They're gonna pay you more. MMA is gonna pay you less. Underground's gonna pay you even less.
Okay.
And the type of fighting I was doing, it was 3 fights a night for 3 days. You get 3 days of fights a week with 3 fights a day. And they were usually all night long in some rich person's basement.
Oh, really? So this is really unregulated?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And you can walk in a ring. I could have walked in there and made 15 grand easy a night.
Because you win 3 fights?
Yes.
Why did you always, what'd you do? What was your secret? How'd you do it?
It's all about knowing a person and watching how they fight. I mean, if you watch somebody, their stance tells you a lot about them. And if they don't stand properly, then you know that you got somebody that's an immature fighter.
Uh-huh.
You got somebody that comes up to you standing properly. You might have an okay fighter, but you might have a person that's just acting like they know what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, they could have just seen that move on TV or something. A lot of the fights that I was fighting were people that really didn't know nothing.
I see.
But then there was those ones that I had to get in there and play with them, to find out what was going on. I have on TV record right now, I have on world record knockouts on Spike TV.
Uh-huh.
I have a 7-second knockout. And that was with one of the biggest dudes I ever had to fight in my life.
What's a 7-second knockout mean?
7-second knockout means I went in, stepped into the ring, stepped toe-to-toe with the guy. As soon as we touched gloves, he was knocked out.
Yeah. So you could pack a punch?
No.
Okay, what happened? How'd you knock him out then?
It's all about packing a punch. It's all about how you hit somebody.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you just got to know. I mean, you can kill somebody with a 6-inch jab.
Uh-huh.
I mean.
Right here?
No, you can hit them right here and kill somebody with a 6-inch jab.
Uh-huh.
It only takes 300 pounds of pressure to break a bone.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And if somebody's hitting at 900 pounds of pressure, the bone's going to crack.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And if you hit somebody right behind the ear, is a definite knockout.
Yeah. It's a sensitive spot for the old brain.
Right here. It's a definite knockout. No matter how big of a guy you are, no matter how small of a guy you are, that's one hit that's going to knock anybody out.
Does everybody in the cage know that, or most people in the cage know this?
Most people know that.
Yeah.
But I mean, certain people, you get in there and they're gonna be all wanting to bob and weave and block everything. Well, when you're bobbing and weaving, that's the best time to get somebody with that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Huh. So, yeah, it was all your training from age 6 to 18 that helped a lot too. And so,
Yeah.
you know,
A lot of people that they don't start training at a young age. They start training 3 or 4 years prior to fighting.
right. Yeah, they don't have it in their blood. Okay, so now there's a situation where your hands are registered right now as
Lethal weapons.
lethal weapons. Okay. So, and you, with MMA, you registered, or you said let me get this straight. There's an underground thing, rich person's basement, and then there's the MMA.
Yeah, which is the MMA.
Which is the MMA?
Yeah, underground rich person. It's classified under the MMA.
Okay.
It was MMA cage fighting.
So it is regulated.
Yeah.
It is.
It's just a big underground thing.
Okay. So it's just not on TV.
Yeah, it's on TV.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm getting a picture here.
Like your show is. Okay, that's just like how it is. It's pretty much at nighttime you get to see it,
Right.
instead of like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not like that. The whole night, because that's when you fight, is at night. You get from 10 o'clock till 5 o'clock of nothing but MMA fighting.
Uh-huh.
On Channel 12, back home.
I see.
Just like you're on Channel 3, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, we're on Channel 3. So you couldn't take the punishment after, I mean, you talked about the hard side of it, like 3 fights a night for 3 days in a row, and it just is hard on the body. It's just, even though you're young and you're winning fights, it's just still kind of hard. Can you go back in?
If I wanted to, yeah.
Uh-huh. And how long ago did you get your arm broken? 3 years ago?
Yeah, about that.
Okay, so you're 25 years old. You got your arm broken. You fought for how long? A year?
I fought for 4.
You fought for 4 years.
18, 19, 20 to 21.
Okay, so you fought all through 18 to 21, and then got set back with this arm, and you haven't jumped back in. Do you ever consider it?
I might.
Uh-huh.
I'm honestly thinking about it.
Uh-huh.
But I know for me to actually go back in, I got to go get rehabilitated with my arm.
Okay.
I got to get
PT?
Yeah.
Just physical therapy of rebuilding stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Which arm is it?
Right.
Uh-huh. And are you right-handed?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
But I knock out everybody with my left for some reason.
So it might not be a problem.
No. It's just I like using my right, though.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, $5,000. Or
$5,000.
Even one,
Yeah.
you know? But like
But
5,
you think about it, 3 fights a night, you lose 3 fights, that's $3,000 in your pocket.
yeah, and a couple black eyes. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busted lip, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? So my guest today is Frank Starkey. He's 25-year-old. He's been in Ukiah for 9 months or 4 months?
4 months.
4 months. He's from Ohio and Oklahoma. I'm from the East Coast areas, and we're talking to him right now about the phase of his life just previous to now, where he was a registered cage fighter for the MMA, getting a little bit of peek into that world. So, what's the brotherhood like with the fighters? Is there a brotherhood, a friendliness, a camaraderie there, or is everybody like we're enemies and that's who we are? And
No, a lot of us that a lot of the people that I fought were friends of mine.
okay,
Like, we never had any grudges.
yeah,
It's just, it's all about the money. And
Right.
that's how we looked at it.
sure,
That's just like a lot of these people in the actual UFC.
uh-huh.
You know, they're all friends, but when they all get in that house for training and shit, they're all serious.
Right,
They want to, that and that only.
yeah,
Anything that gets in that little path is not good.
yeah. So
That's
how about?
where all the arguing and fighting comes when you see that on TV.
Yeah, I don't watch it.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
saying.
UFC, they have that training house with all the tires all over the place. I was switching channels one day, I saw that.
Yeah.
So, what about the bad side? Isn't there some dudes in there that are like just nobody's friend?
Nah. They're the ones that usually get out really quick.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that come in there, all they're really in there for is to get a quick money.
Uh-huh.
That's all it's about.
Yeah.
They're not there to get registered. They don't want to get there to make anything out of it. They don't want to make it a career.
Right.
They just want to get in, get their money and go.
Right. Get 20 grand maybe and just get out with hopefully not too many broken.
Yeah.
So, let's see, what was I going to ask about that? Kind of, fighting. I lost my train of thought. I'll get it back. It'll take a second. 4 years since you fought. Oh yeah, here's where I was going. So a lot of people that I get in here, I ask them about life on the street, and one of the things is like, how often do you go to spend the night in jail in the drunk tank and stuff like this? Because that's a pretty common theme.
Never.
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 Okay.
I've never spent a night in jail here in California.
Okay. And that's because you don't fight on the street.
I don't fight on the street. And I don't drink on the streets.
And you don't drink on the streets. The only time you drink is when you're in a hotel room that you know you're not going to leave.
Yep.
Or a friend's house. Okay, and you know you're not going to go walking around. Let's describe something here for a second that you were talking about earlier, about how people really have to push you to make you throw any sort of punch.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just takes a long time. And why is that?
Because I was always taught that fighting isn't always the greatest thing, you know, because, I mean, somebody out there is always going to be bigger and badder than you, granted, but there's always that split second that something could happen. And somebody could snap on you. I mean, it's just all varies. I mean, anything could happen.
Well, somebody has to really push your buttons for a long time.
They have to really push me.
Yeah.
Like, really, 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 really push me. You have to, like, I mean, you sit here and call me names ain't really going to bother me. You get up and talk to me in my face, ain't going to bother me. You get up and spit in my face, then we got a little bit of a problem. I'm going to ask you to back away nicely. And then if it goes any further than there, then yeah, there might be some fist thrown. But
you can't, because you'll go to prison for 5 years.
Minimum. I can actually, I was told that I could restrain you to the ground, call the cops and say, this guy spit in my face.
Okay. But you're not allowed to punch him in the face?
I'm not allowed to physically harm anybody, no.
Okay. Or else you'll go to prison for 5 years because of the system of registered and you're an ex-fighter.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that keeps you out of trouble. And not drinking keeps you out of trouble. What do you get drunk once a month or something? Or?
Not even.
Yeah.
I don't get drunk.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I drink. I maybe have one beer. I don't know anybody gets drunk off of one beer.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say that I don't. I do know some lightweights out there.
Sure. Yeah. But generally, yeah. Well, that probably keeps you out of trouble. I mean, you lose your... how does drinking affect your bipolar and depression?
It makes me actually more depressed. I start thinking more about stuff that I shouldn't think about, that normal people wouldn't even think about. And so that's why one of the reasons why I don't like drinking. It makes me think a lot about my daughter too. You know, brings back the memories that I do have with her. Yeah. And it just makes me more depressed. So I try to stay away from the depressing stuff. I try to stay happy. Yeah. Just try to keep myself happy.
Yeah. So you said that you had severe depression, and do you still have it now? Like if you don't medicate for a few days? Yeah. Just naturally you can sink low?
This time of the year is like, this month actually, is not a very good month for me. This is the month that my sister was murdered, and the month my daughter was taken from me. Okay. So like this is a really stressful time of the month for me and time of the year. And medicating is the only way that I know how to deal with stuff right now. So I'll just sit here like this. I probably smoked about a pound and a half in the past week by myself.
Really?
Yeah.
And so again, like what we started off the show, if you go 3 or 4 days
without smoking, you wouldn't like to be around me.
Okay.
Nobody would.
How would this interview be happening? Like,
well, this interview probably wouldn't be happening.
It wouldn't be. But let's say that
if you got me to come in here, it probably would be very stressful.
Okay, so let's say as an experiment, as just a thought experiment, that we're going to do this next week. You're going to not smoke all week, and then we're going to come in and do the same, sit down at the same table, and you're going to be like,
I'm going to be sitting here like, okay, what are we talking about?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not talk right yet. Give me a minute. That's how I'd be.
Sure.
I would be so stressed that I wouldn't even want to get on the screen. I wouldn't want to talk to nobody. I wouldn't want to do any of this.
Yeah. 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 And so you don't take pills? You've got an anti-pill thing?
I can't even take a Tylenol.
Yeah.
I mean, the thought of a pill going down my throat makes me sick.
Yeah, because you were just overloaded in the group house environment, and you just did not like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So let's talk for a minute about plans. You know. Well, actually, let's talk about your book for a while.
My book.
Yeah.
My life story.
You've got an idea in your mind, and you've started several times, and you actually have on your
aunt's computer.
Your aunt's computer. Your most recent start attempt, and yeah, tell me what you want to do and why. And yeah.
Well, I want to reach out to the kids that are in the group homes. Pretty much is what it is. I want them to know that they're not the only person that's living the life like that. You know, there's many people out there that's lived that lifestyle. You know, that grew up from, you know, actually being born, taken away from their parents, and grew up in this situation. And, I mean, I wasn't one of them children, but I was pretty much right there with you, though.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I want to show them. I wanted them to know that not everybody out there is mean. You know, eventually, as soon as I get everything set up and I get myself established and I get enough money raised up, I want to open up my own group home, reach out group home type thing. I want to have a ranch, you know, where their chores are going to be, you guys have school, you have animals you guys have to take care of. If you guys want to ride bikes, you guys can ride your bikes, but you got to take care of your chores first. It's going to be on a ranch situation. They're going to have horses, cows, and all that. Go out, you feed your horses. You know, everybody gets assigned an animal, and that's how I want to do it. I mean, I think that would be something for a challenge for me to do because of my situations that I've been in. But to do it would be great.
And have you heard of a model like this? Have you heard of examples of this ranch group?
No, it's just it's.
Because I guess what? I guarantee they're out there.
There is.
And it's a great idea.
There is.
And that's
and
why.
The only reason that I got this idea was because when I was in the group home, we actually had music stars actually come to the group home.
Cool.
We had Garth Brooks, which had just bought a house out there about, I want to say about 100 miles away from the group home. And he was actually reaching out to the group home, hey, kids that have good behavior, come out to my house. You know, this is a treat. You know, this is something me giving back to the community. And he was giving it to the group home kids. Hey, come out, ride my four-wheelers, ride my horses, come out and have fun.
Yeah.
We'll play some music, have a band, concert, and everything. And it was pretty cool.
That's amazing. He's a cool guy then, huh?
Yeah, surprisingly. I mean, you'd think somebody like that would be uptight, rich, you know, wouldn't give a care about something like that, but they reach out, they do stuff. It's pretty fun.
Well, you know, as a middle step before inventing your very own is to go work for a place like that.
Well, that was one of my goals. I was supposed to actually start working at the group home that I was actually was in as a child. But I ended up moving out of Oklahoma, of course.
Yeah. You want to tell that story? You can. It's up to you.
Not yet. We'll talk about that later.
Sure.
But yeah, that's where that got.
So you already had it in your mind to stay in the system and start working it from the helpful side instead of the being helped
Yeah.
side.
I mean, there are some nice people in the group home setting.
Sure.
The group home staff, but then there's those I don't care, I'm just here to work and tell you what to do type people. And those type of people really don't need to be working with those kind of kids.
Yeah.
Because that's when you got the kids wanting to run away from the group home.
And if you're in charge of your own group home, you wouldn't have any of that.
No, I would have free roam. I mean, as long as you're doing your chores.
No, I mean, you wouldn't have bad employees.
No.
You would only have
I would make sure my employees were checked over thoroughly.
Yeah.
The group home I was at, the group home I was at, they let, like, anybody work there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, one dude had tattoos from head to toe. And it looked like he just got out of pen.
Uh-huh.
You know, and he was working in the group home.
Was he cool or was he
an
a jerk?
He was an alright guy, but he got his hands full with me. And he was a bigger dude than me.
What do you mean he got his hands full?
Well, just like I was telling you the other day, or earlier, about how I knew how to control the system.
Uh-huh.
You know, you play the system. You know how to piss somebody off enough. They want to restrain you. They want to test you.
Right.
Well, you know how to get that going. So you get under that staff member's skin, you know, you get him pissed off. Well, he wants to throw your ass on the ground and sit on you.
Right.
That's how they restrain you.
Uh-huh.
Well, he was a pretty big guy, and I was a pretty big kid, and me and him went on a tuffle together, and he thought he was going to put me on the ground, and it didn't work that well.
What happened?
He ended up on the ground, and the head of the group home ended up coming and restraining me. Which he's like 6'8", weighs like 350 pounds, played football for the Dallas Cowboys back in the day, so he was a pretty big boy. I was scared of him. He threw me around.
Oh my God! In the whole group home thing, was there ever any employees being out of line and being abusive?
No, never abusive, just out of line.
Being like verbally
just
abusive.
Verbal, aggressive, you know.
Yeah.
They shut the hell up type thing.
Yeah, but you didn't ever get smacked or punched? Or,
no.
Yeah.
That ever happened, they'd probably be hurting.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
The last person, there was this kid in the group home that actually thought it'd be kind of funny to grab one of the lunch trays and smack me upside the head. And we had plastic chairs, like outdoor chairs.
Yeah.
We had those. That's what we sat on. Well, I picked mine up, slammed all four legs on the ground, and all four legs split out. And when I grabbed one of the freaking sharper pieces, went after the kid.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't going to play.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Same way that, huh?
Did you poke him?
No, I didn't poke him. I didn't get to poke him. I didn't want to poke him. I just wanted to scare him.
Sure.
He was this kid was big. He was real big.
Scary
he was scaring me, but I had to scare him because I was small.
Compared.
Yeah.
Huh. So, you want to write a book that gives a perspective that could be helpful for kids.
Yeah. That are in the system.
Yeah. And it's easy when you're living on the streets or on and off the streets and stuff to lose track of that and to lose your manuscript is what it's called, right? As you're working on it.
Yeah.
And do you like my idea of Google Docs?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I've never heard of it.
Okay. So you just get on your email and there it is. It's in the cloud.
I actually had Gmail too, and I've never actually noticed that.
Yeah. No, there's a whole bunch of things up there that I don't even look at.
I've seen that. I never look at it. I just look at my, well, you got mail.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's the Mendocino Book Company here downtown. There's a whole bookshelf in the giant place. There's one bookshelf that says local authors, and there's like maybe 20 books up there. And I would absolutely love for your book to be there or back in your town or wherever.
It'll probably be here.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up putting it all
I
over.
mean, and that other site, that blurb.com, you know, and there's a couple of other ones, I don't know the names, but where you could just send your stuff in and get one book, you know, for $15 or $5 or however long it is and stuff like that. But yeah, I really think that's an awesome idea. I really hope that you do that over time, and hopefully that thing comes out. You say you want it
probably in the next 3 or 4 years. I'll probably have it out.
That's your goal right now.
Yeah.
So
I want to hit it before I hit 30.
Yeah.
I want it to be out before I hit 30.
Okay.
So that's my goal.
Right. Out of sight. So So what's your ideas? What's your plans? Like, you consider fighting?
Well,
but
my main
there
plan
even
right now.
is there even fighting around here?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My main plan right now is I have a friend of mine actually willing to help me out. He told me that he had put me and my girlfriend up with my dogs. Just to help him out. So I might end up moving to Wisconsin here in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad I got a chance before I never see you again for the rest of my life to get your story.
But I might not even go.
Sure.
I mean, it all varies. He's got to get back to Wisconsin, get a place established and everything like that.
No, there's some things that have to work. Yeah. But that's an idea. Now, you do construction. You did that for years. You're capable of doing that. And,
construction, demolition, anything.
Yeah. So, a lot of people, how well can you? I have a lot of people in here that pretty much can't work. They can't hold a job. They're too.
I can't handle I can't handle a fast food job. I can't handle working at a grocery store.
But you can do demolition, and you
I
can
could do
build.
anything doing with my hands, pretty much. I gotta be working on car audio, anything like that. I'm all over that.
Yeah.
You know.
And
Let me pimp out a car. I'll do it.
Right.
You know.
Sure.
That's the type of work I like doing.
And
something with my hands.
Something with your hands, building.
Building or tearing apart, one or the other.
Yeah, they're both fun. Have you gotten any work in this town? Or looked very hard?
I haven't really been looking, right now. I mean, I'm just right now I'm on a mellow time.
Yeah.
So I know there really ain't that much work right now at this time of the year anyway.
Yeah. My guest today is Frank Starkey, 25 years old, been in Ukiah for 4 years, grew up 4 months, I meant to say. Thank you. Grew up in the group home system. Never really took off with the foster situation, grew up group home, and has this life story that he's telling us. So thanks for tuning in. This is the Jason Show every Saturday at 10. We've got about 15 minutes left. Let's see, what haven't we covered? What can we talk about? Talked about the fighting. Pretty much have a good concept of the whole situation there. Pretty interesting. We talked about that. We talked about. Tell me some street stories. Tell me about Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat's just a sleeping place for me. For other people, it's a drinking place and fight. They get drunk and they like to fight over there. I don't see the joy in that. I ain't getting paid to fight, then I don't like to fight.
I see.
That's another thing that keeps me from fighting, too, is I'm not making money beating somebody up on the streets.
You're just putting yourself in jeopardy.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you don't drink.
Yeah.
Because I'd
probably hurt somebody and myself.
Probably get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I see. These guys, they say, I drink until I fight. I
don't drink until I fight. I would probably drink until I passed out.
Yeah.
If anything.
Right. So yeah, what's that trip all about? Like, why do they do what they do?
I don't know, man. Like, me, honestly, I could sit out and I could sit on the corner and make $30. Okay? They sit on a corner and they make $30. That $30 is 4 to 10 people buying booze for everybody.
Right.
Okay? Me, that $30 is the hotel.
Right.
That's a place for me to take a shower, get cleaned up, watch some TV.
Right.
All they're worried about is their booze.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I mean, they got their priorities mixed up probably. Mostly. And all they want is their booze. I mean, I feel sorry for them because that's all they know, obviously. That's all they want.
I had a guy the other day, a fresh parolee, actually, that had just gotten out.
Blue?
Yeah. I met that guy. I was talking to him a little bit at McDonald's, and he was like, being homeless sucks, man. Of course I want to just sip on a bottle all day long. It takes the pain away. It's boring. It's not fun.
True, it's not fun. I mean, it ain't. If how I think of it is man versus the wild.
Uh-huh.
I'm always in the wild,
Uh-huh.
and just everybody else is a big game around me. It's just that's all it is. Everything in life's a joke if you think about it. I mean, we went to San Francisco the other day, and we had to pay $0.25 to go to the bathroom. Come on. Everything in this life's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but there's times to be serious, and there's times you gotta take shit serious. And I mean, just at the situation I'm in right now, I think it's a laughing joke. I mean, it's fun for me.
What were you saying? Humor? You said you need a little humor to work,
Yeah.
to get through, get by.
You gotta have humor to get by. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're sitting there serious every day of your life, like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm not ever gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
You get here and you ha ha ha, funny funny type thing. Humor is the best thing in life. You make somebody laugh, it makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You laugh, that means you're in a good mood. You get somebody else to laugh, that means they're in a good mood, and now you're putting everybody else in a good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. And the humor just goes away if you don't medicate.
No, humor's always there.
Oh, okay.
You just gotta always have it.
Right. Right. No matter
mean,
what.
I'm always happy.
Yeah.
It's just if I don't medicate, then I'm just a little more irritable.
Yeah. And then the bipolar comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we're sitting here talking all morning, and you don't. Yeah. Yeah. You seem pretty stable, pretty together. I think a lot of that has to do with that you don't drink. I mean, drinking.
Yeah. You know, she went into the store last night to fill this up, and they thought it was vodka she was walking out of the store with.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Because of the bottle, how it's shaped and everything.
Right, right. It does look like a vodka bottle. Yeah, I had a heavy alcoholic on here a couple months ago, and he didn't say it on camera, but he said it before. I'm like, how do you get your booze? And he's like, I just walk out with it. He was 52 or something like that. He'd been around the block.
Jesse?
No.
No.
But
I was about to say, Jesse's one of them ones that does that.
I'm like, just walk out with it. He's like, they're asleep at the switch. They're not looking. You know, you go in there with clean clothes, just go get your bottle of vodka and leave. I'm just like, wow, man. So that's how it is, huh? Yeah, but that guy is having a hard time. Kind of. Yeah, you don't seem to be having that hard of a time.
No.
You know, it's all relative.
If you go on the streets not knowing anything, you're not going to know anything when you get on the streets at all. But if you know a lot of the streets, when you go on the streets, you're going to be better off.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go from somebody that's book smart to put them on the streets, they aren't going to do nothing on the streets.
Have you seen that?
Yes. Now if you put somebody street smart on the books, they're not going to do nothing on the books because they're street smart.
Uh-huh. Huh. Every once in a while you've seen both, though. You've seen a book smart, street smart.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I'm one of them types, so.
Uh-huh.
I'm a book street smart type person.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But, I mean, you just get a book smart person and you throw them on the streets. That's like throwing...
Your grandma out on the street.
No, that's like throwing a rat into a freaking cage of cats.
Yeah.
It's not going to make it.
So what's street smarts? You just got to watch your back and always have one eye open?
You just got to know what you're doing.
Got to know what you're doing.
You got to know who to hang out with, where to hang out at, and what you're doing.
What happens if you don't? What happens if you misstep and you hang out with the wrong group on the wrong day in the wrong park?
Just dip out is what I do.
I mean, what happens if you?
I mean, I've hung out at the park up there by the the
museum.
The museum, that park right there. I've hung out there and watched people get their ass kicked all the time.
Oh, really?
Just for the simple fact, like, one day, dude came in and started running his mouth about someone stole his stuff.
Sure.
And he was drunk. And he pulled a knife out on a couple of females, 2 of them being pregnant and 1 being my girlfriend. And I should have done something about it, but I didn't. When he pulled a knife on my girlfriend, I confronted him and took the knife from him. I disarmed him, is what I did. And about 15 minutes later, he ran up to one of my friends and said the wrong thing, and he ended up on the ground for about 45 minutes. Couldn't move. Knocked out. Paramedics came, took him. Never seen him since.
Because your friend knocked him out?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you disarmed him. What else could you have done?
That's all I could have done.
Without getting in big trouble, yeah. Yeah, that's, I never heard that. There's just a 5-year minimum, no questions asked.
That's a minimum. That's like if I hit you in the face and gave you a black eye, you called the cops, pressed the charges on me.
Yeah.
5 years right off the rip.
Wow. Huh. Oh, well, we got about 10 minutes left. This is the Jason Show, and this is Frank Starkey. And we're just talking about life on the street right here in Ukiah, the reality, what's going on out there. You see a lot of drug use on the streets, or do you see just, I mean,
I don't know. What is your definition of drugs?
my definition of drugs is crank and alcohol.
Alcohol is a drug, yes. I see a lot of that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now the crank, I don't really associate with people that use it.
Okay, so you don't go in those circles.
I don't, like, if I mean, I hang out with people that do it, yes.
Mhm.
But when they're doing it, they know that they do it on their time, not my time.
So there's a separation.
Yes.
There's a division.
They know that if they do it on my time, they're X'd out of my circle.
Huh.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
And then my whole crew will X them out of their circle.
So they can hang out. They're welcome to hang out while they're tweaking.
No. They do that on their own time. Their tweaking is their time. Their sober time is my time.
I see.
You know, because I can't stand somebody to be like,
Looking through the blinds.
tweaker.
Yeah.
You know, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple people that actually sit in the Walmart parking lot in their cars, and you'll see them, they'll scrounge way down below their window, and you'll see them peek their head up over the window. And I mean, it's funny. It's really funny to see, but it's just not something you want to watch.
Sure.
I mean, you don't want
Sure.
that around you all the time.
Yeah, it's weird energy. I mean, you want to talk about
I
other
mean, I want to be
things.
happy, you know? I don't want to sit here and be like, are they watching me? Shh, they hear me. I don't want to, you know?
Tell me about your friend with the texted you.
The tweaker one-nighter put down the pipe and step away from the blinds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He texted you and said,
The black cars are following me. What do I do? And I was like, so I tell him, I'm like, why don't you walk up to the black car? He says, no, I can't do that. Why? They'll take me away.
oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, there's a funny side of it, but it's also there's a negative side to it.
You know, I was honestly thinking if I ever go to jail again, you know, when they intake you, they ask you if you hear or see voices.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking about telling them, yeah. And then when they ask you, what are they saying? I'm going to think about saying, let my people go.
I don't get it. That might be
All the people in jail. My
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, my people, you,
Yeah.
me.
Uh-huh.
Us civilians, let my people go.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about the good side of homeless. Okay, the freedom. Like
The
you
freedom, you don't have.
You said, yeah.
You don't have no. I mean, you have what you have. I mean, the money you make, you could go live on. You can live off the grid. You know, that's what I prefer. I live off the grid just for one reason only. So I don't want nobody to find me.
Mhm.
You know, my family, if they want to find me, that's okay. I don't want them to find me,
Mhm.
and that's the reason why I live like I do.
Hmm.
Because my family's been nothing but trouble for me.
Mhm.
They bring me down, and I don't like to be bring down. I like to stay up here, not down here.
Mhm.
You want to do your stuff down here, well, I like to be high up here. You
Yeah.
can stay high down there all you want.
So freedom and traveling,
Free.
anonymity, being anonymous, and
Be a drifter in the wind.
Be a drifter in the wind. So you just went down to San Francisco, came up to Fort Bragg, and
Yep.
I asked you why, and you said just to travel,
Just for the fun.
just to go meet.
Just to go to see the ocean.
Yeah.
I've seen the East Coast. I wanted to see the West Coast.
Now you've seen the West Coast. So what do you think of our nice San Francisco town?
I actually like it.
Did you have a friendly time there? Did you What'd you do?
Just went to the beach.
Went
It was rainy, so
Yeah.
it really wasn't that fun. I got wet.
Yeah, yeah. It's too bad that you're not there this week, though. It's all
Yeah.
like the miracle hot
Yeah.
week of.
I see that now. I mean, you know, it's nice
Yeah.
here. Now I'm here, you know.
Yeah.
I leave here, it gets crappy weather there.
One of the things that you told me is that you kind of don't care about the weather. You know, most people are like, oh, it's a crappy
snow,
day
it's all
out.
good.
Yeah, and I hear
a
that.
beautiful day. If I wake up, it's a beautiful day.
Okay, and that's it. Yeah. Okay, let's get a time check here. Got a couple minutes going. Okay, so how, I should figure this out before, but when do I actually want to end? When do I actually want to say thank you and goodbye? Sorry, sorry everybody. I shouldn't. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. This is embarrassing. Yeah, it's all about timing, you know.
Yeah.
Usually with regular television, you've got a team of people,
And
they're doing signs to you, and they're doing this, and you're like, okay, but we just wing it down here.
Yeah.
This is public access. I'll do a little commercial here. This is public access, and anybody in Ukiah, anybody in the county, can give me a very small amount of money for a yearly membership. Can't mention prices on our station, but come in here, give me a few bucks, and you've got a membership for a year, and you can come and do a show. You can interview anybody you want. You can interview your grandma. You can interview vets. You can interview pets. You know, like this is your station. I'm the program manager, or I'm the operations manager. My boss and I run this station together. You're welcome to find us and come check out what we do here. And thanks for watching. And we got a couple more minutes, so we're gonna. I guess I'll ask you. If we've got a minute, if there's any other thing you want to say, if you have a message or an idea or a philosophy.
An idea. I do have one idea. Back home they have, and it helps the homeless people out and people that can't get cell phones. And this is for like the Congress people to think of. They're called
Obama phones.
the Obama phones. That's not really what they're called. They're SafeLink phones is what they're called.
Okay.
It's called SafeLink. And it's a phone company. It's a free phone that everybody gets. Get them one a year. You start out with 57 minutes on it, and you can call and get an update package on it. It's called SafeLink. But it's an Eastern thing right now, and I'm trying to get it. They're trying to get it in Oklahoma right now. I spread it out to Oklahoma already. So it'd be cool to get it over here in the West Coast, too, for the people that can't get cell phones.
It's a free cell phone.
It's a free cell phone, free minutes every month.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Frank, pleasure to meet you.
Yep.
Really appreciate you coming in, talking with us, talking with me for an hour, and amazing story. I really hope you write your book. I think that's really neat. And good luck with moving to a group home and working it from the top angle instead of the being in it angle. And just wish all the luck to you. So this is Jason signing out. Tune in next week at 10 o'clock in the morning. Thanks for watching.